Today is no ordinary day. Today, the sky has opened for you. Jesus Christ has reached out to you with love, with power, and with a divine call. You are not here by chance. This message is special for you. Your destiny is about to change because God's plan is calling you to a great purpose. The divine light that tears through the darkness now envelops you. Are you ready? Write 77 in the comments now, because this is not a coincidence, but an invitation. The greatest transformation of your life begins here. Watch now. What you will feel will change you. The ones who once rushed to condemn, who eagerly took part in the storm of judgment, where are they now? They pounced at the first whisper, threw their accusations like stones, convinced they had the right to decide who was guilty before the truth even had a chance to rise. Their words were sharp, their certainty unshakable, their voices the loudest in the crowd. But now, those same voices have faded into silence. Their confidence has turned brittle, their certainty undone by the weight of what they failed to see. The truth, unyielding and patient, has surfaced, unraveling the fiction they so readily embraced. They wanted a villain, but their story is crumbling. And in the end, all that remains is you, unchanged, standing tall, watching as the tide turns against them. They once called themselves allies, spoke of loyalty, stood beside you in the moments that tested them. Their words were warm, their promises unshaken, until the winds shifted. When the time came to stand firm, they wavered. When it was no longer convenient to remain by your side, they rewrote the story. They twisted the past, reshaped the truth, turned shared moments into weapons against you. Every kindness you showed, every time you held them up when they were falling, forgotten. They traded integrity for convenience, choosing the easy path of betrayal over the burden of honesty. And now, as they craft their new narrative, erasing the very foundation of your history together, they expect the world to believe them. But deception is fragile, and even the most carefully woven lies cannot withstand the force of reality. When people need a scapegoat, they'll create one. They needed a way to deflect, a figure to bear the blame so they could walk away untainted. The more they repeated the lie, the more it took shape, growing from a whisper into a wildfire. And they stood back, watching as their fabrications spread, as others picked up their words and threw them further. They didn't just betray you, they reveled in it. They convinced themselves of the fiction they spun, so much so that they mistook it for truth. But deception, no matter how carefully crafted, always contains its own undoing. The cracks start small, a detail that doesn't align, an inconsistency too glaring to ignore, and then slowly, the tide shifts. The weight of the lies becomes too heavy to carry, and those who once believed so easily begin to question. The truth is patient. It doesn't rush to be heard, like a quiet river carving its path through the hardest rock. It simply waits, knowing its time will come. You see, the same people who once clung so tightly to falsehoods, to illusions that seemed safe, are now beginning to waver. Their steps falter. The same voices that once spoke with unshakable confidence now echo with uncertainty. It's as though the very ground they stood on has begun to shift beneath their feet, and they never saw it coming. They once believed they were untouchable, sheltered by their deceit. They thought they could create a world of their own, a world where lies are woven into every word and nobody would notice. But what they didn't understand is that truth doesn't need to fight. It doesn't need to chase or scream for attention. It just is. It stands there, like the light of a new day, waiting for the darkness to fade away. it simply exists. And that's where their illusion begins to crumble, because truth has a way of cutting through the smoke and mirrors. It doesn't matter how many walls they build or how loud they shout. Truth is like a seed that's been planted deep within the soil. It may take time to grow, but it will eventually rise to the surface. When it does, no amount of fear or resistance can stop it from shining through. If you feel the abundance of divine love in your heart, now is the time to share it. You can help spread God's blessings by clicking the super thank you button on YouTube and contributing $20 or more. This divine gift will touch not only your life, but the souls of many through this platform. Each of you has a sacred place in God's grand design, and your generosity will be the fruit of our prayers. Act now. Share your blessings to glorify His kingdom, for you were created to do even greater things in God's loving hands. May God bless you. It was never your fight. Not really. The battle is between them and the truth, between what they thought they could hide and what the universe, in its infinite wisdom, always knew. They've exposed themselves. Their own actions have revealed what was once hidden, and now they have no choice but to face what they've created. You see, when you walk in the light of truth, you don't have to worry about what others are doing or saying. You don't have to fight to be heard, because the truth always finds a way to speak for itself. It's like the sun rising in the east. It doesn't need anyone to tell it to shine. It just does. It's in its nature. And so it is with truth. The world may try to convince you that the lies are enough, that the illusions are strong enough to stand. But you've been chosen to walk in the truth. You've been called to rise above the noise, above the distractions, and to stand firm in what you know to be real. You don't need to explain it to anyone. You don't need to shout it from the rooftops. Just let it be. Let it grow, and let it shine. Before we dive deep into the beauty of truth, let me share a simple picture with you. A picture that captures both the wonder and the quiet majesty of a life lived in divine purpose. Imagine, if you will, a bright morning sunrise over a vast open field, where each ray of light gently touches every blade of grass with its promise of renewal. In that moment, the horizon isn't just a line in the distance. It becomes a living tapestry woven by a loving Creator, where hope dances with each new ray and every heart is invited to awaken to a new day. This sunrise is like the unfurling of a sacred scroll, each beam a carefully chosen word, each glow a silent affirmation that you are destined, chosen, and dearly loved. Just as the sunrise paints the sky with the hues of possibility, so does the truth illuminate our lives, guiding us to a destiny more glorious than we ever dared to imagine. Remember, truth is like a tree planted by the water. It doesn't rush to grow. It doesn't fret about what others are doing. It just takes root, spreads its branches, and bears fruit in its own time. And when that time comes, the whole world will see it. They will see the truth for what it is, unchanging, unshakable, and eternal. My dear friends, as we stand on the precipice of today's challenges, let us remember that our journey is not defined by the noise and clamor of those who live in a world of false promises. Instead, it is defined by a deep, abiding connection to a truth that stands firm, even in the fiercest storms. In our daily walk, we encounter moments that test our resolve, times when the weight of the world seems too heavy to bear. Yet, in those moments, when the path appears obscured by shadows, we must hold fast to the divine assurance that truth is our steadfast companion, ever present, ever guiding, and ever loving. Consider the truth as a mighty river, its waters clear and powerful. moving steadily toward the vast ocean of divine destiny. Like a river that cuts through the stubborn stones, truth forges its path with quiet determination, erasing all obstacles that stand in its way. It is not loud or brash, for it does not need to shout its presence. It simply flows with a calm certainty, nurturing every life it touches along the way. And just as a river eventually finds its way to the sea, merging with a force greater than itself, so too does our truth merge with the boundless love of the Almighty, transforming every challenge into a stepping stone toward heavenly purpose. When we look around, we see a world that often seems lost in a maze of confusion and deceit. Many have built their lives on shifting sands, believing that the transient nature of worldly success could bring lasting comfort. But let me tell you today, my brothers and sisters, that those foundations crumble under the weight of time. Their glittering facades eventually give way to the stark reality of emptiness. And while the world may be dazzled by the allure of superficial glimmers, our eyes are fixed on the eternal promise that cannot be shaken or diminished by mortal designs. Dear brothers and sisters, may God's peace be upon you today. I am here to remind you of a profound truth. Our existence is grounded in God's divine plan, unshaken by the temporal concerns of the world. As the Bible says, whatever is done in faith will return to God in abundant blessing. Luke 6:38. Like that great oak tree, our roots are deeply rooted in God's universal truth. Every step we take, every stand we take, is secured by His strength. And now, you are being offered the opportunity to be part of that blessing. When you use the Super Thank You button and donate $100, this movement will return to you 100-fold in abundance. In the gentle unfolding of a new day, the truth calls to us like a soft whisper from a far-off, sacred place. It is a reminder that no matter how tangled the path may become, there is a divine plan at work. Every twist, every turn, and every moment of uncertainty is part of a tapestry so beautifully intricate that even our human minds cannot fully comprehend its wonder. Yet the truth shines through in its simplicity. It is not measured by the fleeting accolades of men, but by the steadfast, unyielding light of the divine. I want you to close your eyes for a moment and envision that majestic river again, the one that carves its way through the heart of the wilderness. Picture the water, cool and invigorating, carrying with it the wisdom of ages. Feel its rhythm, steady and unhurried, as it whispers secrets of eternal hope and redemption. That river is the embodiment of truth, a truth that is as gentle as a caress, yet as powerful as the mightiest storm. It reassures us that even when the world around us is in turmoil, the Spirit of truth endures, guiding us with a promise that is as sure as the sunrise. You see, my friends, our journey is not about fighting the winds of change with brute force or clinging to illusions that vanish in the light of day. It is about embracing the natural flow of divine truth, allowing it to lead us gently yet purposefully toward a destiny crafted by grace and boundless love. In our hearts, we know that this truth is not a mere idea. It is the very foundation of our being, a wellspring of hope that nurtures our souls and inspires us to rise above every trial. There will be days when the road seems long and the burdens heavy, when the voices of doubt and despair try to steal the joy from our hearts. But remember, truth does not falter in the face of adversity. It is a constant beacon, a lighthouse shining through the darkest nights. It does not need to call out or seek attention, for its very existence is a testament to the power and majesty of our Creator. It is a quiet force that, once recognized, transforms our lives with a profound sense of purpose and belonging. Let us then commit ourselves to this journey with renewed vigor and unwavering faith. Let us set aside the transient worries of the world and fix our gaze on that horizon where the light of truth meets the promise of a new day. Embrace the peace that comes from knowing you are part of a divine design, a design that is perfect in its timing, abundant in its blessings, and infinite in its mercy. Each day is an opportunity to let this truth guide your steps, to allow its light to seep into every corner of your life, healing the wounds of yesterday and illuminating the path to tomorrow. Imagine a golden sunrise breaking over a quiet hilltop, its warm glow gently urging you to rise and shine. Just as that sunrise cuts through the darkness with a promise of a new day, so does the divine light illuminate your path. This light isn't dim or hesitant. It's bold and unwavering, guiding you like a shining beacon along the way. As you walk this sacred journey, do not be swayed by the temporary allure of worldly distractions. Instead, anchor your heart in the everlasting truth that sustains you. Picture yourself standing firm, like a mighty oak whose roots run deep into the nourishing soil of divine love. With every gust of wind that shakes the branches, remember that it is only fortifying your strength, deepening your resolve, and preparing you to bear the rich, sweet fruit of a life lived in accordance with heavenly principles. In the early hours, when the world is still and the noise of daily life fades away, you can feel the gentle whisper of divine favor enveloping you. It is as if the Creator, in His infinite mercy, is personally guiding your every step, ensuring that you are never alone on this path. Like a trusted friend who stands by you through every storm, this sacred truth uplifts you and steadies your soul, reminding you that every challenge is but a stepping stone toward a greater destiny. Even when obstacles appear daunting, remember that the divine strength flowing within you is as constant as the river that winds its way to the sea. Each trial you face is not a setback, but an opportunity for growth, a chance to lean more deeply into the love and guidance bestowed upon you. With unwavering faith, you overcome each hurdle, emerging stronger and more resilient, knowing that your future is bathed in light and infinite promise. So, let this truth settle deep within you like the morning dew upon thirsty earth. Embrace your journey with gratitude, confident that every moment is touched by divine grace and abundant favor. You are cherished, guided, and destined for prosperity beyond measure. May you walk on in strength and joy, secure in the unchanging promise of eternal truth. Amen. And so, my beloved, let this truth be the cornerstone of your existence. Let it remind you that you are never alone on this path, that every step you take is guided by a loving hand that knows no bounds. With each sunrise, with each whisper of the wind, you are reminded that the truth is eternal, steadfast, and imbued with the promise of prosperity beyond measure. It is a truth that does not yield to the temporary pressures of this world, for it is anchored in the divine, unchanging nature of all that is good and righteous. Dear brothers and sisters, may God's peace be upon you today. I am here to remind you of a profound truth. Our existence is grounded in God's divine plan, unshaken by the temporal concerns of the world. As the Bible says, whatever is done in faith will return to God in abundant blessing. Luke 6:38. Like that great oak tree, our roots are deeply rooted in God's universal truth. Every step we take, every stand we take, is secured by His strength. And now, you are being offered the opportunity to be part of that blessing. When you use the Super Thank You button and donate $100, this movement will return to you 100-fold in abundance. Take heart then, and let this message fill you with a profound sense of peace and assurance. In every moment of doubt, recall the image of that glorious sunrise, the endless river, and the mighty tree planted by the water. Know that these are not mere images, but reflections of a living, breathing truth that surrounds you and sustains you. Allow this truth to permeate every fiber of your being, so that no force on earth can ever shake the foundation upon which you stand. May you continue to walk in the light of this truth, feeling its gentle power uplift you, transform you, and carry you forward on a journey that is as boundless as it is blessed. For in the end, the truth is not something that can be won or lost. It is simply the way of the universe, the heartbeat of creation, and the eternal promise that you, my friend, are wonderfully, divinely, and irrevocably chosen. Let the truth be your refuge, your guide, and your everlasting strength. Embrace it with open arms and allow it to lead you to a future filled with grace, abundance, and the unshakable joy that comes from knowing you are a cherished part of something far greater than yourself. Amen. So don't worry when others stumble. Don't worry when they try to hold on to their lies. Don't let their fear make you doubt what you know. The truth is bigger than their lies. It's stronger than their doubt. It's more powerful than anything they can throw your way. And in the end, they will be the ones who are left to face what they've done. You will stand firm because you have chosen to walk in the truth. You have chosen to be the light in the darkness, the voice that speaks when all others are silent. You don't have to chase after anything. You don't have to fight for your place. It's already yours because truth is on your side. So rest in that. Be at peace with it. Know that you are part of something much bigger than what the world can see. You are part of the divine plan, a plan that is unfolding perfectly, even when you can't see it. And as you walk in the light of truth, you'll find that everything else falls into place. The world will begin to see what you've known all along, that truth cannot be stopped. It is unstoppable. You've been chosen for this. You've been chosen to carry the light, to speak the truth, and to be the example for those around you. Don't let the world make you doubt. Stand firm, stand tall, and trust in the power of truth. It will always find a way to make itself known. Silence is more powerful than any defense. They expected resistance, expected you to plead your case, to fight for validation, to prove them wrong with words. They thought they could control the narrative, that their version of events would define reality. But you did not fight. You did not chase. You did not demand understanding. You let silence do the work. And in that silence, they found something far more unsettling than any argument, a truth they could not manipulate. Lies may spread fast, but truth never stumbles. And while they unravel, you remain unchanged, untouched, and free. Now is the time to share God's blessings by clicking the Super Thank You button on YouTube. You can contribute to His plan and be a part of this divine mission with a donation of $100 or more. Every gift reflects God's generosity, and I believe it will return to you exponentially far beyond your expectations. Remember, His protection and blessing is on your every step and every donation. You become part of His divine plan. You are a strong, radiant being, unshakable as His mighty rock. Witness God's miracles, feel the fruits of your generosity in your soul, and illuminate the world with confidence and courage. Be blessed, and let the light of the Lord guide your path. The moment of reckoning arrived, and the silence you held shattered their illusion of control. They had braced themselves for an outburst, a desperate plea, a flurry of justifications, but none came. Instead, they found themselves staring into the void of their own making, left to wrestle with their choices. At first, they dismissed it, convincing themselves it was a phase, that you would return once the sting of betrayal faded. But time moved forward, indifferent to their assumptions. The days stretched into weeks, then months, and still nothing. That's when the fear crept in, when the realization settled deep. You had walked away, not in anger, not in retaliation, but in certainty. And worse yet, you flourished. They watched, searching for cracks in your armor, hoping to glimpse the struggle they told themselves you must be hiding. They combed through traces of your life, expecting signs of regret, of longing, of unfinished business. But what they found was something they never anticipated: liberation. You were thriving, unburdened, stepping into a life that no longer revolved around their expectations. The sight of it unsettled them, not because they wished you well, but because your happiness stripped them of the power they once thought they held. They had built their identity around the idea that you needed them, that without their presence, you would remain tethered to the past. Yet here you were, untangled, unchained, moving with a grace they could never possess. The shift in dynamics was undeniable. Where once they had dictated the narrative, now they were the ones grasping at remnants of connection. They reached out in subtle ways: a harmless comment, a familiar phrase, an indirect attempt to stir familiarity. They wove their attempts in casual tones, as if testing whether the door they once walked through so freely was still ajar. But every attempt was met with a reality they struggled to accept. They were no longer a part of your world. Their usual tactics fell flat, their carefully crafted maneuvers met with indifference. Without you playing along, their games had no purpose. But life has a way of restoring balance. The very energy they thrived on, the constant cycle of drama and manipulation, was now working against them. Without a willing participant, their chaos had no refuge. The people who once entertained their fabrications had grown weary, no longer enchanted by the same tired deceptions. The charm they relied on had worn thin, and the masks they wore for so long were beginning to slip. They were left exposed, standing in the very mess they had created, forced to confront the truth they once buried beneath layers of pretense. What they failed to understand was that this was never just a matter of words or fleeting betrayals. This was a battle of spirit, a reckoning that stretched far beyond what the eye could see. They had underestimated the forces at play, believing they could twist reality to their will without consequence. But deception carries a price, and that debt always comes due. The harm they wished upon you did not vanish, it merely found its way back to its source. The weight of their choices now rests upon their shoulders, the very burdens they sought to place upon you now pressing against them with an unrelenting force. The unraveling had begun. The cracks that once seemed insignificant had spread, fracturing the foundation they thought was unshakable. They had placed their bets against someone who was never meant to fall, and now the cost of their miscalculation was becoming undeniable. As they fumbled for control, searching for a way to reverse the tide, you had already moved beyond their reach. While they clung to a version of the past that no longer existed, you stepped fully into the future that had always been waiting for you. In the end, they weren't just wrong about you. They were wrong about themselves. They had convinced themselves of their own invincibility, believing that they could shape the world to their liking without ever facing the repercussions. But truth is unwavering. It doesn't seek approval, doesn't bend to convenience. And now, as the dust settles, as they sit with the echoes of their own missteps, you stand unshaken. Not as someone who merely survived, but as someone who emerged victorious, not through vengeance, not through force, but through the undeniable strength of knowing who you are. Through every trial and storm, you have continued to rise, proving that resilience is woven into the fabric of your being. Your journey is a testament to the unshakable strength that dwells within, a light that refuses to be dimmed. If these words speak to you, take a moment to reflect and share your experience. Let the world witness the fire that still burns within you.